couple of days. It's Shiro taking that face in, takes the fight and loses it out. Start out for the CT camp. Kill found immediately, and a 5-on-4 game by the Gambit side. Pressing into the mid-control, looking like they want to split A.
Yeah, plenty of options here for the Gambit side. Gamble rotation actually coming through from Heroic, getting a pretty decent read over towards this A site. Nade could come down onto Shiro's position. This could do some decent damage. He's actually been able to press up very close towards the site. This information hasn't come through from Heroic.
Smoke in, Axel facing in, Tesses comes up with the kill. Shiro backed up to APC, looking at the backline into his Hobbit. They're going to get themselves 3 kills between those players, and suddenly Nico is standing alone. A 1 versus 4 for him, swings out. See Shiro takes him down, needs to land his next 2 frags, but it's not going to happen. Inters will be the man to shut down the last, and it will be a pistol round for Gambit Esports.
Well, I'll tell you, those entries came in incredibly quickly, right? We saw the opening pick being found out from Shiro, then they end up going towards the A site. 3 players there, already in the gamble rotation from Heroic, and the entries just come so incredibly quickly. The trades don't come back. Only a couple of kills get found between Testis and Nico, but the force buys coming through from Heroic to try and put the early pressure back on. Deagles across the board, no scout out for Cadian.
No, not at all. Deagle instead. Nades in hands of several players to try to do some damage. Nafani will take that damage at 88 points of health. Bursting up against Down. That's a good Deagle shot to shut down the first. Open things up here in this matchup. Got a bit more to work with here as a 1-for-1 trade comes in between Borup and Shiro. Overall favors the Heroic camp again. These Deagle force buys doing damage to the Gambit camp, and they're making more work. Tesses finds the angle on Shiro as he peeks in, shoulder baiting at the wrong moment. Perfectly placed here by the Heroic pistols.
Jeez, what a shot that is. What a jiggle pig coming out, and this anti-eco from Gambit is not going well at all. They've only managed that first initial pick onto Borup. Outside of that, Hobbit and Inters are now stuck in a 2 versus 4, and they really just need to, I suppose, continue just brute forcing the approach, right? Work together. They've got a couple of AKs in play, but Cadian's already going to hear this information from the top of connector.
Outside of the connector control, ready for them to face into the mid position. Deagle standing by. Oh, he sees them both and takes them both out with ease. Perfectly placed there by the IGL, as Heroic will win out the conversion. Gambit, so confident on those pistols, and suddenly all just snatched away in an instant. That goes 1-1 to the board. Now they're on their own Deagle force buy.
And certainly, this is where I think Gambit could maybe struggle in this best-of-3 context, Jay, is when we get into situations that they feel very pressured. We see very early, convincing rounds going the way of Heroic, like that force buy did in round 2. It means that for Gambit, double eco status without getting that bomb plant, need to force the issue going forward. And there's even a little bit of aggression coming through from Nico. And with that AK in play, now starting to go a little bit more passive towards the A site. Gambit starting to at least take a little bit of connector control. Bit of aggression coming out from Hobbit.
Establishing that position right here with the Tech 9s, being very careful about where he takes face though. Pressing into the short control is the rest of the T-side forces, particularly Axile, who's got no contact against the CT player. Might have a couple of problems here and there. They're ready for the face out from the short position. On from the bathrooms, Nafani takes out Nico. So once again, it's Deagles to strike first here.
Yeah, good start coming out for Gambit. That's what we want to see from them, being able to at least find an opening pick. Work with the AK boost coming forward. No one being seen just yet from Heroic. Maybe caught on repositioning on the site. Cadian really by himself towards this A site. Very aggressive approach in towards the bathrooms. His only teammate near him is down in from Heaven.
It's a good call from Heroic to stay Heaven and stay on that B site, because that's what Gambit are leaning into. Axel with his Deagle trying to face up against something, as eventually led to drop down towards the water position. Smokes in from Tesses will try and keep the monster position siphoned off. And about 24 seconds before it starts to clear, maybe even 20. Hearing footsteps from Tesses' part. Bullets will fly past him, not connect to any sort of damage at this stage. And now here they come. Down takes out Axel to a 4 versus 4, and the crossfire between the M4 and the MAC-10 is able to clean him up. Nice final frag from Cadian against Shiro, and Gambit with a force buy fails spectacularly. No bomb plant and no force buy.
Yeah, look, it was a good start, right? They find that opening pick, they pick up the AK for Nafany, but what it comes down to is just not being able to break out enough utility. Heroic put that re-smoke down towards the monster position, then there's more util that follows. Gambit have to sort of push in towards that approach, and they kind of get sandwiched in. A great crossfire gets set between a couple of players, and now it's just a throwaway round. The double eco status is gone. They're now just going to be on a Glock round. This should be a 3-1 start coming through from Heroic.
A good way to counteract the pistols for the Gambit side, so efficient and effectively. And Nico, the M4 down to that mid position. Expecting some T-side contact to be right about that in the midst of the smoke. He will spot one player being cleared off, but good duck and weave there from Gambit to maintain their position out here and just continue along these defaults. These pistols are going to have a tough task ahead of them, so just to try and evade those M4s, get the information. Also see if they're going to evade the MAC-10s as well, because those will be the most dangerous and most valuable weapons to the CT side.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity. Those MAC-10s, Borup and Cadian, just to rip house, right? Farm up a lot of money, get that AWP flying out for him straight away. Pushing up towards Connector. Him and Nico already finding a couple of kills, so Gambit just getting picked apart, unfortunately, with this Glock round. The one thing that there is a big positive, right, is that already 2 out of the 3 kills have gone the way of rifles. So as long as you're not leaning into those MAC-10s, they'll be relatively happy with that.
Yeah, just these 2 players remaining. Cadian's ready with his MAC-10 in for a triple. Evades vision. Does hear the footsteps of Hobbit, though. That's the bomb. Back. M4 takes a swing on the hit instead. Cadian trying to adjust against Axile. Last player left in a 1 versus 5. And with his Glock out, can't really take much of a face, can't take much contact against these guys. May end up looking for one of the rifles if he can find them. But his best bet is to go down here, get some, get the money bonus in for the Gambit side. Be a bomb plonk can be snuck in, actually. Oh, open for bang! Yeah, that's going to cost him. Borup steals that final kill. Nice effort. If he went for a safer plant on the truck or maybe towards default, then maybe that could have been a bit of a bonus cash around there for the Gambit side, but 3-1. Again, as you mentioned, the start Heroic now leads to the buy, and the Orb's immediately out for Shiro here.
Yeah, that was a nice attempt for Heroic to actually make sure that he goes down after time, just kind of falling back and thinking, okay, if he fake plants, then we just won't swing. If he ends up trying to plant, then obviously we're not going to let him get that bomb plant, get that extra little bit of money in. AWP's being brought down from both sides. They're actually going to keep Borup on the MAC-10 for a little bit longer, which could work out against the AWP. The duel in towards Connector starts off for the T side as Shiro finds the opening pick.
Katie in the drop. And Gambit establishing themselves pretty early on this one. Expecting aggression as well towards Monster. Axel going to try and deal with it here. Not going to be able to focus and get both of those frags, actually getting taken down so they can trade up and grab a secondary AK here. Stan with a Fama is going to be the weaker player in play right now for the CT camp, but he's nowhere to be seen against the T-side contact. One man is watching from the long control, sees the Galil, Nafani. Flashed into position, and they actually managed to isolate the kill as Nico does not look away from it. Stan now left alone. Back here to the site itself on the backlines of said site. Tesses with an AK coming in to join him. They may have seen that bomb. They might know the majority of Gambit players are out here.
Really nice trades coming through from Gambit. Just the way they're able to just wide swing together onto Nico and now slow the pressure down. The Stan having a bit of an aggressive angle out towards Banana. Not making any sound in the matter. Heroic are just hoping that they can just find a little bit of a cheeky pick. Flash comes over the top. Stan finds the first. Almost a second. A lot of damage coming through for Shiro, but the trades are still good for the Ts.
Tessus in the back lines watching for contact. 2 AKs alongside him and Borup. Into his faces, gets that headshot. Doubles up for a triple overall. Quick kills in for him. A second round on the board of Gambit. And that was a very nice rifle. A very nice sequence in particular from Inters to get his 6 kills.
Yeah, that was really well played. Like, great crosshair placement. And you could see what Heroic were trying to do there. When you're in a man disadvantage scenario, you want to try and make a play, see if you can get the advantage back in your favor. They actually lean for aggression. Flash comes out towards Divider. Stan tries to peek with it, but Gambit are just all over them. And then just the entries coming through towards the last 2 players at the A-bomb site. And it all started off with that opening all pick towards Connector. And Cadian going to be able to get the AWP back in, but is he going to be able to find the connection this time around?
Well, as of right now, Bearing down for the CT side, spraying through on Hobbit, hoping to catch him in the connector control, and it'd be right to assume that he's gone towards connector. Hobbit's played connector control so well so far this week. Doesn't establish a kill just yet. Heroic also very passive on the A site defense. They've got one player pushed up long, but that's it. Two more on the rotates as well. That's Nico and Stown. Surprised that Orp's in on Cadian for one, actually. Would have thought Stown would pick up the big green gun, but... Minute to the clock, and still no contact established by Gambit, despite how aggressive they are.
A very heavy long approach coming through from Heroic, bringing a second player over, and then just a jump spot coming through from Divider. Try and see if they can get some info out towards the bathrooms, and all these footsteps are being heard. Axel gonna get swung on the AWP. Close range finds the first.
Fani backed up, smoke down from Katie, and HE coming close. Fani ducks his head down from position. Looks up to the right-hand side. AK in the back of Hobbit. Sees players coming in from long. Now takes that challenge. Calls it in against the AWP. Can't quite be able to isolate this player and take him down. Man, disadvantage for Gambit as well. Fani's creeping into the back lines of the site. Extending out towards Bank could be a bit of a suicidal prospect, but he has to get these kills in to try and open up positions. The bomb's back at the bathrooms as well. 15 seconds got to go through mid. Still challenging from Bank. One kill comes in for Nico. And now Shiro's got to get the plant in. He has to prioritize that above all else. Going towards Truck. Seen there by the CT side. He'll get one frag. And the second, but not third. And even if he did, he had Nico very far away from the site. They would have had the round regardless.
Yeah, look, Heroic are actually almost taking a bit of a leaf out of what EG did, right? When we saw in that opening game for the group stage in the head-to-head from Gambit, we saw the City side taking a lot of map control. We saw Evil Geniuses being very aggressive, trying to pressure them in the mid-round, and I'm getting the feeling that Heroic are trying to do that again. We're seeing plays aggressively from Stown out towards Banana. We saw that time around Cadian slow walking with a teammate out from long. They're looking to really try and force Gambit back into a slow passive style of play over on this T side, and they've got off to an absolute flyer. 4-2, another eco needs to come through from Gambit. You couldn't have asked for a better start.
Absolutely, they'll be very happy with this. This has worked so well so far for them. And Heroic just shutting them back down to another deco here. 3 of them in play across Axar, Hobbit, and Intis. Leaning into the mid-control when Afani leads up with the P250. Flashes over long will be ready for Gambit to take that position to the map here. I imagine that they'll probably try and counteract it, knowing how aggressive Heroic wanted to go there. Axar's going to be very passive, and he's also going to be the only player out here. They're looking for mid to try to see if they can just get a flashbang in, get a bomb plant out. One player in the corner to check against that first and second and third frag. Nice and easy against Kevlar's players. Quadra not quite found. Axar does find a return of his own. Cadian shots on, also missing out actually. A bit of damage being done here. The rifles can't get recovered. The bomb's out in the open as well. Got to focus on that bomb plant. Axile has got 3 kills. Can't make it a quadra. And Shiro can't follow suit with the P250. That's a very expensive round, actually. Gambit did really well with what they had.
And that was Axel's first kills of the game, Jay. Hopefully start to see him getting fired up, because my goodness, was he absolutely doming them with the Deagle. A lovely 3K coming out from the Mastermind. And Gambit getting off to a bit of a slow start on this T side. Heroic have... The one thing I will say that for Gambit that they have been able to do is really limit this economy, right? Heroic don't have a lot of loss bonus behind them, so there's a chance for an instant reset if Gambit can convert going into round 8.
Jump facing from the Heroic side, getting caught off by the rifles that they have in. Gambit on a very broken buy. Have the AKs across most individuals, plus that AWP. The Galil and the Fani still going to be a highlight entity, though. Leaning in towards the short position, Gambit going for a much more quiet set default this time. I mean, most of them have been pretty passive, but this time a particularly quiet one. It's only Nafani that's giving away any info.
Haven't really seen much play over towards the B site from Gambit so far. It's been a lot of connector control, plays out towards bathrooms, Banana out from long. It seems like that B site has not been one for the taking for Gambit. Bit of a gamble stat coming through from Heroic, having 4 players over towards that B site, hoping that maybe there's a bit of a play to come through over towards that side of the map for Gambit. But it's Nico aggressive. He's by himself, finds the first. Oh, he even transfers to the second.
2 frags untraded. Cadian will fall back to Shiro. The AWP will strike back towards the B side. One more player there in Tess. Will spray blind of the smoke, get Axar to fall. And Shiro's waiting for this man to re-extend back towards the site. He knows that that AWP's in play. So he's ready just to take those shots on, take them down on the CT camp. 20 seconds. Gambit running out of time. Another player rotating out is Hobbit. Facing against the likes of Tesses, aggress towards Monster. Will he win this fight? Can he win this fight against this man? No, he can't. M4 kill. Leave Shiro alone. 1 versus 4. Dealt with by the likes of Borup. And now 6 to the board of Heroic. And this is looking very similar to the way things went down against EG. Remember how that T-side start went? About 4-3 before EG really pulled away on their CT half. Gambit replicating performances here. If they let this spiral out of control, the results could be just as similar.
I think we've got to see a change of pace. Maybe not in this round, but certainly in a rifle round. A quicker play out towards the B side might be an option because it has been very slow. It has been very passive. And so far in their defaults, it hasn't led to many opening picks coming through outside of that AWP v AWP connector duel, right, between Shiro and Cadian. Outside of that, they've struggled to find opening man advantages. And now just going to be on another eco, trying to see if they can get Axel to do what he did the last time they won one of these kind of rounds.
First face down towards Monster. We'll see Hobbit taking damage, but dishing out some towards Cadian. Heroic doing enough at this stage. Or not quite landing onto the player, not quite getting that opening kill, when really it probably should have done. It's passive positions held from the Heroic side. Nafani could be a bit of a thorn in Nico's side. 2 players swing in, damage being done, but more so by the M4 rather than the pistol, so pop-up kill, Axel falls, quick burst through. Nafani was already very low. Nice adjustment there to a 5-on-3 situation.
Yeah, nice and easy clean up so far out for Heroic. A lot of players around this A side. No real over-aggressive faces coming through as well to just give up the life, make sure they're peeking on each other's contact. AWP from Cadian starts to swing in, enters the last one left, and the AWP connects onto a second. Heroic are looking really rock solid, I want to say, on this defense on the CT side. We've seen some aggression, we've seen some passiveness for them. They're having some really good reads. It seems like every time Gambit have leaned in towards the A side, at least late into the round, they've had like 3 players there every single time.
Yeah, now Heroic are adjusting so well. So well. The rotations are quick. They know where they're going to be at against the Gambit side. AWPs and AKs in. The M4's also out. 2 AKs for Tesses and Stalin. Smokes on into the mid control for Heroic. AK straight out for Tesses, hoping to catch vision on somebody here. Gambit need to get some sort of start out real quick. Sees 2 players, sprays up, takes down that only frag. Hobbit and Inters will trade back together. Still got an M4 here pressed up towards Long, but Nico doesn't land any kills. Has barely done any damage to the AWP, let alone that. One player in Stalin has pushed up towards Underpass. He might get some information, but they've got to deal with the man advantage first.
He's got to be careful. How does he actually play this? He can catch off the lurk out from B. Nico's been able to find a pick to the A side, so it brings it back to a 3v3, but they know about that aggressive lurk. Now we're actually seeing Borup push through from Monster. That has to be the tell that it's an A side play now.
Yeah, that kill from Nico is massive. Gets it to an even standing. 3-on-3. He's the solo holder for this A site, though. Back at bank, and with 2 T-side players pressing up, a 3rd man about to join the fray. Sat back here with this M4. 45 seconds on the board here. Slowly walking in, there's barely any defensive. The 2nd man will finally get back here. That's down with the AK. Molotov in. Nico having a bit of breathing room, actually. It's pretty open positions to the site. Incendiary down on default, followed up by the HE. Might be able to take out Inters. Eventually, the fire will burn him down. And now Axel and Shiro stand alone at the man disadvantage. Borup also closing in the backstab. This mid player could be in trouble. Axel's got to check it, and indeed he does. But Borup opts not to act. Instead, Shiro gets the position and starts looking up to the bathrooms area. Get the kill on the player from the entrance. And doesn't see anything. He's going to make a lot of noise as well. AWP and AK both going to get lined up here by the M4 player. Sees his man, takes it down, looks back in for the second. Nicely done by Borup. Well patiently played. And the defuse coming through for the Heroic side. We'll see 8 to the CT board.
And I think it's really plays like that that highlight the difference, right, of what you get from the Tier 1 teams on a great level. We just see how patient Borup is, knowing that in a post-plant situation, they've got the man advantage from the utility that went down towards a default position. They're probably anticipating a backstab, and he waits. He waits the timer. Eventually, Gambit sort of get a bit antsy, have to look back towards the site itself, and that's when Borut's able to swing. Once he hears the footsteps of Shiro, 8-2 on this CT side. Gambit are having a real tough time on the T side. Where are the tactical pauses here?
Nowhere to be seen at this stage. They're just going to try and brute force it through these rounds. Once again, utility straight in, going to try and do some level of damage. We'll get some tags off on the likes of Stown and Inters for their respective sides. AK up here towards the stairs area. Stown peeks in, Cadian backed up with the AWP, and the kinetic control is lacking for the Gambit side. They have forced Heroic away from passive positions though. One player divider, one player bathrooms, and the slow walk starts to come in here.
Oh, this is a good crossfire, especially if Cadian's able to get a pick and pull a distraction away. Someone's going to have to check this from Gambit. Check that close quarter. Flash comes over the top. It doesn't get checked. Eventually it does, but the trades are even better. They find that pick onto Cadian or Vyorp Jewel. Advantage now up for the T side, and they're continuing the execution towards A. Do Heroic want to go for this? Because they're even thinking of backing off. And yeah, I think this is an instant safe call.
Yeah, 4v3. Only one player was there at the bank entrance, just down the stairs of it. The second player just on his way from the rotations. The third man already pushed out towards Monster, so like it's just virtually impossible. If they had all three players there, then maybe they could have gone for it, but much better take there from Gambit, reading the positions well, not needing that tactical pause apparently, and getting themselves a third to this T side board. Heroic already have the half, which is still the concern right now for the Gambit side. But yeah, more rounds like that is what we need to see from them, you know, like the rest of them have been a little bit unacceptable in my opinion. You know, they've let Heroic get away with some cheeky stuff that they shouldn't be able to do, and you know, this time they're not going to let that happen. Heroic just going to opt for the conservative save. They've also got plenty of cash here, so there's going to be, you know, a decent economy basis going forward. But yeah, Gambit need more executes like that, you know?
Yeah, and it's got to come off the timing. It's got to come off the feeling, trying to see if he can bait Heroic forward, because we've seen that Cadian's been very successful with the AWP when it comes to finding advantages and finding picks, but in the straight-up aim duel against Shiro, he's actually lacked, and it's gone the way over towards Gambit. Not quite running a double AWP setup as of yet onto both Stown and Cadians, just holding that one AWP in play. And bringing a very, very heavy mass of players over towards the B side. Bit of a one-way smoke for Cadian to work with to try and find an opening pick out from T-Con, but it doesn't look like anything's going to present itself for him.
Well, the finding was right there for an opportunity, though. If he just held up for an extra second or two, he may have been able to catch that player. But a lot of pressure in that position. There's plenty more T-side presence here towards the mid-connector positions. No connector control from Heroic, actually. So Hobbit can just walk straight up and lead his teammates in to regain the mid positions. Some sprays, I believe, did catch Hobbit for a bit of a wall bang through the wood stack, but not much in general done here. Both 88 and 95 HP done towards Hobbit respectively, so no kills have been found here. They're going to act towards the short control.
One of the first times we actually see Gambit looking like they want to lean into B. There's only two players there. Aggressive stats coming through from Banana. Great information gathering from Nafany. Finds that first pick, re-smokes off. Now a chance for the B strike.
Last time they went for it, it didn't work out all that well, but Gambit with an out advantage this time, two players on site. Nafani still lurking towards mid. Might pull their attention back towards the A play, actually. It depends. Do the CTs continue to rotate, or do Gambit opt for it? Yeah, they're taking that bomb right back into the A side, just as Nico rotates away from it. So well played with that lurk out. Nafani basically securing the round here for the Gambit side.
Yeah, pretty much. They could just keep trying to sell the fate between these two players, but this round is done. As soon as they take the A site, it's going to be another save call coming in from Heroic. Axel's even hearing some aggression coming through. Tessus overextending, and now Borup and Nico, the last couple left. They'll know that there's at least one more out towards that B site. Gambit did run the time relatively low, but that was a very, very nice play. And it started off from that lurk, right? They had so much presence, looking like they wanted to go for the B site XE. But once they get a couple of kills up from Banana and up towards A, they go, you know what? Let's just bring the bomb up.
There you go, that fourth round for Gambit. Again, it all came down to that lurk. All came down to Nafani to get those two kills. As soon as he got that second one, you could see Gambit just put the brakes on that B execution here. They were so ready to go towards B. I think that might have been the right call as well. Heroic's B defensive has been particularly consistent so far today. And that leaves another positive round for the Gambit side. No risk taken. I'm curious to see how they play out the remaining B site takes going forward. If they even want to go for that. For now, it's another rifle round from Heroic. Of course, the money's been built up over the rounds that they've won, so there will be a buy. And open we in play. There should be M4s to back it up.
Well, we saw Heroic struggling against the CIS team of Spirit yesterday, having a couple of close affairs out on Inferno and Nuke. And now facing off against another CIS team, getting off into the right foot. Double AWPs now coming through for Heroic onto Stown and both Cadian. Again, bringing a very heavy mass, large players over towards that B site early on. Nothing is incredibly quick here from Gambit. It seems like even connector control, right? We haven't seen a lot of contact coming through. Instead, it's an aggressive long play coming out between the two CTs.
Quiet round again from Gambit. I mean, they've gone back to their passive defaults, you know, in particular up towards this top mid position. Just barely even out of the T-Con control. And rightfully so, Heroic have a player that's pushed up all the way to Rock. Might be a problem if Nico starts swinging, but right now Gambit are just playing indoors and playing to the mid positions. No further aggression from the CT side. They're happy just to sit here. And Gambit will opt to rotate towards B. Will they actually hit the site this time? Well, if Bob has anything to say about it, the answer to that question will be no. Here on short, alongside the AWP, a tag towards Hobbit will come through, but no kill found as of right now. Nade stacks do take him down.
Yeah, double nades out for Heroic, even flashing towards Monster. They don't quite see anything with it. Resmoke comes in. Gambit have had a tough time trying to get into cracking this B site. Another resmoke comes through from Heroic. Just under 40 seconds left on the clock. Gambit just might have to be forced into B, but look at the amount of players over towards the monster wall.
Yeah, 3 total here, the B site, or baited in. Nafani did not catch it off. He peeks back in, gets the kill as a result, but Nafani with those 2 kills. Tess sets with a response back here towards Monster, doing damage towards Axel. Needs to get Shiro in, but no! He drops that bomb, gets 15 seconds as Cadian swings back with the AWP from short, deals with the last player. That double AWP setup working wonders for Heroic as Gambit shut down without even a bomb plant in round 13.
Yeah, the AWPs are working well, aren't they? We saw that Starm went somewhat aggressive towards Sandbags at short, ends up getting a leg shot. The double nades come through to deal with Hobbit, and then from there, Starm's able to follow up again. We then see Cadian start getting involved into the mix on the rotations, and even Nafani had a great entry line into towards the site, finding a couple of kills, but it was holding their nerve for the B anchors that Heroic were able to overwhelm.
Oh, Stown straight in against Hobbit, shoulder baiting the AK, barely even getting a shot off. Meanwhile, the kill comes in. Heroic. Their AWPs are looking confident as anything at the moment. What's the setup from here? Where are we going to go about this? Gambit have left all connected control to try to play towards that B site, and that might cost them now because the CTs are in there. One player top of core, another one I believe is back in the corner. Yeah, Nico ready for contact as the AWP watches mid from passive.
Yeah, Barb's going to rotate up from the B play. Oh, a little bit of sound cue may have been heard there from Nafani of Cadian. AWP, oh, good shot, good connection coming in. Both AWPs striking in round 14, and Gambit have just got no map control whatsoever. What do they do from here? I mean, they've got to try and cross through this AWP sightline from short pipe.
Have smokes that can potentially use to siphon him off, or flashbangs to make their way in. They peek dry and try to see if they can force him off angle. He rotates away at the right moment, goes back towards the B site for the main defensive. But so long as Heroic hold it down confidently, they can deal with a 5-on-3 advantage. 30 seconds left. Axar will start leaning up to that short presence. We have got Stown set with the AWP. Has he been seen? Yes, he has, and he only gets the leg shot on Axar. So, one pick back for Gambit, 20 seconds, and they've got to act right now. Bomb outside of Monster. Nico's going to be the man to shut it down. If he gets the kill on Inters, it'll be round over. Past the smoke, no flash in dry face. There's the kill from Cadian on towards Axile. Swing back, Shiro brought off by the AK. Swing and spray does come through. Inters alone against 4 players. It's not going to happen. Goes back out, Monster saves the rifle. Timer runs to 0, and Heroic, they'll claim 10-4 on the board.
And certainly, Jay, for the last 12 months, we've casted a crazy amount of Gambit. And what do we say time and time again on Overpass? They run the clock too low. They've done it again. Yes, they're in a man disadvantage scenario. Yes, they got picked apart from the couple of the AWPs, but they've got to have a heavier influence. They can't leave the bomb solo like that from Inters that late on the timer. Heroic gets to double digits, and Gambit, they're just looking shaky on this T side.
And this is concerning, because this is the second time in Katowice we've seen Gambit get dispatched on their own map pick. And this one was even more one-sided than the EG result.
Yeah.
10-5 at the half, at least. maybe 11-4 with the way Heroic are playing, and the key storyline for Gambit has been trying to translate their Tier 2 success into the Tier 1 divisions. Here in Katowice, it seemed like a bridge too far, but at least in this round, they can open things up with 2 kills.
That's a good start. Oh, they've just missed that timing onto Stown. Nafani. If he's able to find this pick, then you can pretty much say the round is done from here. Gambit have got the opportunity now of trying to play some mind games. They've still got to lurk out towards the B site, so they can put some utility down there, try and see if they can bait in the rotations. Heroic are actually playing a nice little crossfire between Stan and Borup up at A, though.
Now, one player watching the mid-entrance, one player watching bathrooms. There is a blind spot, however, coming in from long. They see the utility out. Borup's going to have to re-smoke that. Stown checks out the bathrooms, lets 2 players cross. Oh, the timing is awful from Heroic. And now Borup goes down, but 2 line up for Stown, trying to make it a 3K. And that's exactly what he does. Tesses now left alone on site, 1-on-1. Hobbit finds a trade smoke back to grab the bomb, and Tesses is looking to deny, but Hobbit, with 20 seconds, will escape out through mid, go through connector, and try to get the plant on B.
Jeez, this is one late rotation. He's going to get there, but Tessus actually isn't really in a position in which he can rotate very quickly. Maybe go down towards that heaven line, and Hobbit is expecting him to come quicker. Bomb plant, oh, just about coming in. Could have got it down so much earlier, and Tessus now in the 1 versus 1 to see the shadow spam coming through, and Heroic find their 11th. Get the defuse together. What a 1 versus 1 from Tessus. A big advantage coming through from Heroic. We're going to go to a short pause. We'll be back just after this.
Destiny. I feel a champion waking inside of me. It's emotion, the legend's begun. This is my moment. Can't break my focus, know where I'm going. This is my moment. Where you see me coming better up for cover.
And taste the blame if the flavor should remain.
Wow, how dominant we are for Heroic. 11-4 at the turn of the half. Gambit need some serious turnarounds if they want to bring this back from the brink here, Dweg. I don't know if they can do it. It is their CT side, but Yeah, it's quite a challenge.
Yeah, look, it really is. I think Heroic have done their homework going into this, and Gambit have just been limited at so many positions of the map, so many rounds, time and time again. And you've got to think that this is a vital pistol round for them. We're seeing a very heavy rush coming through from Connector. Bit of a bait play to pull Axel's attention away, but he does find that first pick trying to retreat.
Clean shot in, needs a bit more contact, sees where Borup's at, sees that bomb planter as well. Information called in, taps through, can't connect towards them. Catching information on Borup, but can't quite land the shot on the shoulder bait. Now seeing him press forward here. Borup's got to deal with the main CT forces. Finding the advantage, going to fall back to one. Shiro and Axel get up close, and they take two more heads now. Two standing in Borup and KDM, now just KDM alone. Bomb in full control of the CT side, and Gambit will find themselves a pistol round.
It comes down to the two big guns, Axel and Shiro, doing work on that pistol. Great opening shot coming through from Axel. A very unorthodox attempt coming through from Heroic. So they tried to be a bit of a bait coming out from T-Con to pull Axel's attention away from that con rush. But he even still landed a great 90-degree flick to get on, try and fall back, reposition and get a little bit more cover, bring those rotations up for B. And without a bomb plant, Heroic aren't going to be forcing going into round 17.
Yeah, have a deagling on Stown, but that'll be about it. Glocks for the Gambit side. And the rifles, the SMGs coming on several players of the Gambit camp as well. Two MP9s on Hobbit and Shiro. This chance to follow up the cash, get things going here, try and build up a basis to work with for Gambit because they need it here again. 6 rounds behind the Heroic camp. Do some serious catching up in this second half if they want to try and take their map pick back away from the Danes.
A bit of info coming through for Connector. Ooh, Hobbit actually taking a lot of damage from that Glock. They're trying to see if they can pull some emphasis over towards that B site, but Heroic are going to be leaning in towards A. Now, they do have one Deagle in play for Stown, so there's a chance that they can at least try and do some damage here. Gambit are getting a lack of information too with this jump spot out from default.
Flashes in. Ready to see where players are coming from. Incendiary down towards the bathrooms position. Burst up Nico. Hack to 59. Flash in, sees two heads, turns away from it. Heroic. Press forward, get a bomb plant in at least. I think Nafani has seen where Nico is at. Yeah, tapping his Achilles heel, takes him down. Forced to reload with the next player in. That's where Hobbit comes out to bail his teammate. Get the kills together. Nafani comes up with a secondary kill. And Shiro there to close out the round. 6 to the board of the Gambit camp. And Heroic should be back up to the bye here. Might look a little bit awkward at certain players, but for the most part, this should be rifles versus SMGs.
And when you sort of think about it as well, I know that we talk a lot about the statistics and a map being a great one for the Gambit side for Overpass, but Heroic have had some decent results on it recently. We saw them take down MIBR in a 16-14 fashion in CS Summit, getting a victory over Endpoint in the Blast Premier Showdown. And so we have seen some okay results, currently on a 2-map winning streak. Ooh, is this going to be the triple boost? Normally see this on Ecos, don't often see it on a gun round.
Well, I mean, technically they have got an inferior setup compared to Heroic, you know, the AKs versus SMGs for the most part. And they will boost up to look into that the short position. Unfortunately for Inters, he sees nothing before he falls off. That's fine because Heroic is going to be pressing into the mid-control. Cadian not ready for Axel. A dry face allows a kill to come through. Very unorthodox, but it works out for the CT side.
Yeah, that was a bit cheeky, wasn't it? That caught them certainly off guard. Just a wide swing comes out from Axel for, well, really no good reason, but it does work out for an advantage. And they've even brought the AWP up. Even third players joined them from Nafani. Heroic, they are adamant, like they want to go towards this A site.
Shiro ready for the contact, takes out Nico next to face. Back in for the second shot, ducked down behind the flower pot is where Tessus will go. Down, moves in, Nafani gets that MP5 kill. And now it's Borup on 10 points of health, getting a secondary frag, but needs to get a whole lot more to close this round. And he just hasn't had the breathing to do it here. 11-7 now, Heroic losing ground against Gambit. Big pistol conversion and rifle round going the way of the CT side. Now one more eco will come through against the T side line.
Well, that's one way to certainly start off a second half. Gambit doing really well on really what was like a bit of a bonus round, right? We didn't see a lot of upgrades, still some SMGs in play, and it works out really nicely. It means that for Heroic, the money is in not a great position. They're going to have to eco again. A very light one, a little bit of utility, a couple of upgraded pistols, but nothing much. Maybe a bit of a faster play nade stack comes out. Oh, the nades in return, though.
Shiro lands that first kill, back in for the second, nicely done. They do overwhelm Axel, though, so right they can play with, but Shiro's not missing his shots. 3 kills. The smoke down to block them off from Divider. M4 on Nico's hands could be a bit concerning. Shiro opts to just fall even further away. They'll boost up that M4 to try and catch him off, but good call from Shiro to back off. Keep himself in a passive position. They only have to defend the site, try to deny a bomb plant if possible. For Heroic, this is the eco, so bonus cash may be the aim. Kills may be the bonus here. Minutes to the clock.
Now, Gambit have got a really good read on this situation too. They know that those 2 players were around bathrooms, and as well, they've been able to push in towards short water, so they can just rotate everyone up towards that A site and just leave Hobbit there to sort of say, right, if we start to hear some footsteps over to Connector, then we know it's a B play. If not, it's going to be over to A. This M4 just trying to see if they can do some damage, but it's not really likely, especially with only 2 players against 4.
Gap in that smoke for Nico to work with. Get back behind the corner, there's no CT there. Oh, he sees that M4, tried to take it down, and indeed he finds a trade back. 1-man advantage for Gambit. Cadian is leaning back downstairs, have this sort of lurk play from the M4. Bursting through, seeing another man, Shiro backed up towards bank, but as Cadian falls, the round's over. The bomb is so far away from Nico. Very dangerous risk and a very risky sort of play, and well, it doesn't pay off for them in this case. 11-8 to the board. Heroic are yet to score on T-side, and this is starting to look much better for Gambit. You know, the first half was very awkward, it was very hit and miss, and now confidence has started to return to the Russian side.
Well, we certainly saw that at least when they were up against Evil Geniuses, they had a somewhat decent contest in that first half. They got 8 rounds on the T side. It was when they got into the City side, they just weren't able to find that form and to be able to convert the map. But now certainly up against Heroic, they've looked pretty flawless on the second half. They haven't given too many opportunities up to Heroic. A lot of nades going in towards that party position once again. A little bit of aggression coming through from Connect for the City side from Hobbit. But overall for Heroic, it looks like they're going to be leaning over towards a B-side take.
Seems to be the case. Burst through on the M4's AWP, does see 1 player, nade back towards Stoun's position, but he's the hell out of dodge. And Hobbit actually peeks in from Connector, gets Bar up to 4. So start out for the CT side, getting the pick together. Stoun on 5 points of health as well. Again, great openers here from the Gambit side. It might not be a secondary kill, but it's a man advantage nonetheless. And the trade of Axel going to evade Tessus. Look how far Barney is. Takes a fight on Nico that he does lose out, but the balls on Gambit to go for plays like this is just oozing of confidence right now.
Yeah, although it doesn't work, it's good to see that the confidence is there, right? That they don't mind going for those super hyper-aggressive plays. That's not the best of re-smokes out towards the monster position, unless they were trying to evade him getting a nade light up, perhaps. But I think that was supposed to be a monster smoke that didn't quite come down. Heroic. They're even getting backstabbed. There's a play from Axel in the backlines.
Molotov in as the T's go out, enters with the M4 behind the pillar, ready to try shut them down. He's the only player holding, got to get back up in from the backlines over Graffiti. Back turn towards one of the main T-side players, pressing in. Shots ring out, player at top 16 there. Remaining T-side players are also solo HP. They can get cleaned up so easily as a result. Enters an Axel clean house and get that 9th to the board. And a Heroic tactical being called, their first of this game. And an appropriate time to do so, because that 11-4 is now 11-9.
Yeah, it's coming close to being a really competitive first map, isn't it? And you almost get the feeling that the momentum's starting to shift, and Gambit are now starting to take control. They've looked very dominant. I don't think we've seen a single bomb plant from Heroic. We haven't seen a single extra bit of cash injection for them. Have been sort of shut down getting in towards the site itself, and you even saw what happened in that last round there. Aggression coming through from short water. Great peek for the AWP to find the first tag, and then Hobbit just swings wide from Con. Does even further damage. Heroic gonna be buying down to about 1,500, 2,000, so not quite a full investment, but they do have a fair bit of weaponry to work with into round 21.
Pistols out for the Heroic side means this is going to be a rough one. AK set on 3 players of the CT side. Gambit are so ready for this. So ready for this execution. 2 players down a monster aggression that can come through towards the graffiti position. Smoke back. 1 player will make their way up. Seeing the gap in that smoke that's put up there. 1 kill for Inters. Tessus makes his way around the back. And the player going forward for the flash playing. Inters taken back by Katie, and Axar will trade it. 1 player on site as well. Tessus has no idea. Oh, just out of his periphery will get tapped up. And Katie in a 1 versus 3. P250 out, desperate to get some damage in, but no eco frags. Well, no further eco frags will go the way of the heroic side. 10 to the board of Gambit. This is 6 rounds in a row for the Russians. They are bringing this one back.
Yeah, they are. I thought the utility usage there from Heroic was really good, especially those flashbangs, but unfortunately just not being able to continue the trades going forward, not being able to start to deal with the player out towards barrels. And Gambit are starting to recover themselves on their map pick in this best of 3. Again, Jay, a lower bracket semi-final. Whoever's the loser of this series, they're gone. They are going home.
It's only map 1 of the best of 3 series, but still, you've got to remember how far in the lead Heroic were. At least in this round, they will gain a lead. A kill found from Kaden down in connector. It's Axal to fall. Now splitting up the CT side and 2-2 towards both sites. 1 Orb and Shiro here towards Long. Ray receives some long presence, which might be given up by Tessus if he's not careful. He's got a flashbang that he can use to force his player off that position. He must have been seen there. Shiro should know. And he doesn't get the kill. Hobbit gets down at the very least. So that's 1 frag found toward the monster position, but 2 for 1 trade overall here.
Yeah, decent baiting, right? They say that they can try and bait out that AWP shot. But it just comes down to the read here for Gambit, because they're bringing that AWP back over towards the bank position to play really passive, to have Nafani brought over from Hobbit, and he might just try and push through that monster smoke. If he does, he should get caught off from Nico to get even further an advantage up for Heroic. Certainly has got the advantage in this fight. Hobbit pushing forward. Nico should be able to spot the shadow. Oh, the timing! What? He looks the other way at the worst moment, and Hobbit gets an unreal opening kill.
Thought he saw him. I thought he was going to take him down. Hobbit will be traded back by Borup, so they can now isolate 1 player per site. Bomb's making its way towards A though, and AWP attempting the wall bang through the default. Can't make it land though. Tessus will swing and take the Orpa down. To Nafani it remains a 1 versus 3. An AK that goes back towards Toxic and back towards Monster to save his AK, because Gambit ripped apart by Heroic. Another good round here. Finally their first on the T-side board. That could have fallen to pieces though, with the way Nico turned away from that. Perfect chance to shut down the short control from Hobbit. But alas, not to be this time for the Gambit squad. And seeing they can get that exit frag on Cadian, takes down that secondary kill. That's 12 now for Heroic. Gambit losing all rifles.
Yeah, and losing a fair bit of economy too. Single round loss bonus. They're still going to be able to buy back, but there's not a lot of money to reserve. And yeah, look, that was that was a bit of an awkward timing, I want to say. Nico just turning away at the wrong possible moment. But look, for Gambit, although it's an advantage for them, it's still a round victory up for the Danes. And will they finally find their first on the T side? And can they follow it up though, or are Gambit just going to be able to try and right back into it? They've got enough money to invest into an AWP onto Shiro. Nafani is going to be on a FAMAS though.
Yeah, slightly awkward on the investment. We have seen him take the sacrificial Galil on the T side several times over. Axal pressing forward into the mid control, and seeing if he can get some sort of opening frag. No one in the mid position from Hero going to give up their positions though. It's the AWP Assura from Long that will try and lock them out, and connector control is also established by default here. No one from Gambit challenged it. Heroic, they have options to work with this default, is trying to find a slight overextension and get a kill together. Tessus will take damage into the initial face on Long. A leg shot found, but no kill still.
Yeah, very similar to how the last round went, where they were just trying to bait out the Orpa, but they bait him, and he actually finds a leg. And boost can come through from Nico over the top towards the B site, see if they can find a bit of a response. Beat lean coming through for the Heroic side, even far out towards Monster. That first pick comes in from Nico. Great flashbang for Inters though to line up a couple of kills.
Don't know where the second kill came from, probably through his apart position, but either way, a 4 versus 3 Gambit now pressing on Right with the AWP towards the connector control. Good shot from Shura. Connects one. There's the second player cross back. Damage going to get done. He can't land off that second shot as a result. But it's all left to Axile in the back lines of the A site here. Flashes will keep him blind. Smoke down on the default boxes. Fan will also coming from the Nafani to get here close. And then grab over AWP. Corporon goes down. Cadian, last man standing. Can't do anything with his position. And we're so far away from the bomb itself. Probably would have run out of time before he got those kills. 11 to the board of Gambit, and immediate response against the heroic side. They are now back within one, and there's not going to be a full buy here. They're going to have to go half Cs.
Yeah, look, Gambit are really hanging in here. They're putting in some really tough rounds. They're playing some really solid CS2. Great utility for Inters to swing out for Monster, fight a couple. Shiro's now the only defender out from A. He finds the connection from top con, rotates, come back. Heroic might try a bit of a quicker plan towards a B side. It's going to be a straight rush.
Yeah, flashes in. HE's down from Inter's going to do some damage to Borup. Nico going to get up close to him, and Tesses get those first couple of kills. The Mac 10s on the rush play overwhelm the CT forces. Zaxar falls next. One pass back towards Sir, and Tesses ends up with a double. Shiro suddenly left alone. And Heroic bringing the full firepower of the team. Not even firepower, they're just sheer aggressive pace of the T side straight into round 24 and coming out on top for it.
Oh, look what that's done to the economy. A single round loss bonus, and there's no money to work with here. It's gonna have to be an eco. Inters is gonna be on double eco status, but the rest of the players are gonna be able to buy next round. Oh, Heroic. These back and forth rounds have worked out so well for them, right, on this T side. Yes, it's been very tough for them to put rounds up, but considering they've been back and forth, they've just destroyed the economy from Gambit. And look how harsh this eco is. They're not even buying a Flash, a Zeus, a P250. No, it's just 5 USPs.
Like you mentioned, got to go full eco in this one to enable the other players to buy. If they all force down, then yes, it means the Inters will be in line with the rest of the teammates, but that also leaves you in eco in the next round. The concern for Gambit will be how close Heroic get to that map point. In this case, they can deny it at 14. They have to force up here, then they'll almost certainly be getting to 15-11. And after the monster comeback we saw at the start of the CT side for Gambit to go 11-4 to 11-10, to see them lose it in the last couple of rounds, that would be heartbreaking for this squad.
Yeah, it would. I really think it would, and especially going forward into the series, knowing how young some of these players are too, knowing that it was right there, and Heroic are now just starting to put a little bit more pressure forward. I mean, even if it comes down to like a 16-13, a 16-14 result for Heroic, it's going to hurt when you know how far down you were and you've brought it back so close. Gamble stack comes out towards the A side. This could be intriguing.
Smoke set for Tesses. Teammates around him, including that bomb, pushing up first and foremost. USPs, seeing what damage they can do. Have seen some very silly USP rounds in the past here over the course of Katowice. And TK is actually going to be even more silly than that. They do find one kill on the CT camp. Finally may face in against Borup next, but down the backline's going to deal with him. And there's Cadian with the final frag. Running at 14-11 now. Heroic within 2 of the win now. Gambit needs 3 to catch up to them in the buy. It's coming through now.
Yeah, AWP in from Shiro. That's what you want. Axel's gotten certainly a little bit quiet in this CT half. He was putting up some decent performances on T side. And needs some of their stars to come alive. Inter's actually going to be getting an M4 over from his teammates. So the IGL of Nafani is going to be taking that MP9 instead. AWP going quite aggressive from Shiro, trying if he can get a bit of an opening duel, but doesn't quite wide swing enough. Nade stack comes through. Could this do any damage? Oh, it does a fair bit.
Low on the SMG, but it is the SMG above the rifles. Gambit can be happy keeping most of their main players in check. Tesses. Into the mid control at the back of that successful B campaign. Run boost for the AWP, and there's no AWP to challenge him here on long. Have seen Shiro go there quite frequently, but this time he's back towards mid instead. Seeing some utility, but not seeing any players.
Yeah, he's very aggressive here. Now, if he misses this shot, he's just going to get wide swung and instantly dead. He's going to have to connect, and he's going to have some sort of support. He's going to see a flashbang over the top. A lot of players coming through, just seeing a little bit. Flash in, and there it is straight away. Shiro so far in the open. going to be the first one to fall. Axel now struggling. 2-man advantage for the T's now.
Finally alone on site, needs to do some serious work. We'll catch one player off guard, but as Inters falls, the SMGs, all that remains. Hobbit coming in from the back lines, dealt with by Cadian. What an efficient round from Heroic, 15-11. And now Gambit have 4 to make up. With a force bite to carry them all the way through, they could be losing Overpass for the second time in Katowice. And what should have been a power play pick for these guys has been decimated by the top teams.
Yeah, it was too wide there from Shiro, too aggressive and too wide. And look here for Gambit, we saw so much promise for them, Jay, going into the second half, but it looks like Heroic are just going to be able to put the final nail in the coffin. 15-11, one more round is going to give them their opposition's map pick. And what a start to the series this would be for the Danes.
I mean, hell, it could pretty much decide the series, you know? This isn't their map pick, this is Gambit's. Inferno coming up after this, and it's a map that's okay for Gambit, but not a great one by any stretch of the imagination. Definitely better stats for Heroic in that respect. It's time to be concerned. They have one more survival round to make happen, and all the utility, the execute comes in. Deagle's up close. There's Inters with a frag. Hobbit flashed out blind. One player on the sandbags here, the short control, holding face and ready to take some names. Flash back in, nobody's blind. Hobbit goes down, Bob trades to a 4 versus 4. Down presses forward, sees them at that short position. Molotov's down to Barney on the sandbags. Does get away with the kill. Burns to 13, and finally he's traded by Axel there with an Eagle shot. In from heaven, gets into a 3 versus 2. Bombs on site, can get planted here. Tessis is just trying to be wary of the heaven flank. The short control can also come through. It'll be a 3-pronged attack on this retake.
No, this is very winnable coming out for Gambit. They've got to be able to try and see if they can isolate these 2 T-side players. Great re-smoke coming down from Cadian towards a bridge position. Just trying to peek on each other's contact. Tessa's getting aggressive, taking a lot of damage in response, and now the short play's been compromised. Cadian's got to win a 1 versus 3. Missed AWP shot comes out. Can't quite find the flick onto Inters. Gambit going to stay alive for just a little bit longer, Jay. Get onto that bomb, get the defuse together, pick up all of the weapons, get that AK, get the AWP. Inter should be able to get another T-side weapon, and Gambit, well, 3 more to bring it to overtime, Jay.
Indeed it is. A survival round as well from these guys, forcing the issue back. Now getting a serious opportunity to continue to hold their map pick. Heroic up on the rifles, of course. Gambit's a very harsh bite back, but a couple of AKs will at least get them part way there. Orpston and Vashiro as well. The famine for Hobbit's going to be the main concern. And again, for Gambit, it's a much-needed survival round. To get us to overtime, they've got to find much more like it. Arguably, you can see them get even more confident rounds, and that will secure them even further. Momentum going into that overtime if necessary. Right now, it's just the short control coming in, connector from 2 players on Heroic, and another BXE seemingly on the table.
Yeah, this could be quite quick coming out from Heroic. They've taken short water control incredibly quickly. Tessa's taking a little bit of a spam in trade with Nafadi. Down to half HP. They can re-smoke out from Monster. That's going to slow the play down. Heroic have got a fair bit of map control to start off. Nade's coming in. Does a decent amount onto Hobbit.
60 HP for him. Molotov on Stown, back towards the toxic barrels. Going to try 4 CTs away. And 60 seconds remain. The HEs coming down range as Gambit sat here on that B site with their standard defensive positions. That bombs to that monster as 2 players make their way in from Con out into the A play. Ooh, player in bathrooms caught off by Axel. That's a good start. Kill found easy, backs off, and no need to continue aggressing.
No, this is an A fake though coming out from Heroic, and already that doesn't help them too massively losing that first player. Try and see if you can scramble the rotation, see if you can get them to over-rotate up towards the A side. A peek coming out, and Stown wins another one, and he finds 2 kills.
There's a reason he's conversation for best player right now. 17 seconds, and they're going to have to lean in towards the site. Backstab is incoming from Nico, could be the difference maker. Stown at 20 HP, M4 in sees 2. Nafani sprays transfer, and now 5 seconds to get the bomb plant in. Deagle's up close, Warwick has no idea. Shiro taps up, Nico comes in with the backstab, and Axel now knows 1 on 2 to clutch it, to keep his team alive in this one, and it's not going to happen. Borup takes him down, wins 16-12 for Heroic, taking Gambit's map pick as we take a break.